Hi there, this is That Anxiety Chick, and today I want to talk about, is my anxiety as bad as yours? It's quite an interesting topic actually, because it's been discussed quite a few times in different places, particularly that anxiety guy who talks about it quite a lot. And I'm probably posing this question because he's spoken about it quite a lot. So I'm also referring to some of my notes here at the same time. Okay, so is my anxiety as bad as yours? Wow, how do I know? You might think that what you're experiencing is really, really bad, and that's fine. If you do, that's what we're here for, to try and help. And I'm hoping that some of these videos will be of some kind of assistance to you. So I'm posing this question because that anxiety guy thinks that we are all the same, that we all come from the same factory, that no one at all is different according to him. An anxiety disorder is an anxiety disorder, the same across all human beings, and the feared response is the same for all of us. And of course, no one's adrenaline is different to anybody else's adrenaline, not from that point of view. So he is saying that we are all the same. And what do I say to that? Well, a load of codswallop. That's what I'd say to that. Adrenaline is the same, of course it is, and the feared response is exactly the same. But what he's talking about is purely mechanics, and what I'm talking about is experience, and that can vary from person to person. So, people can be affected differently by anxiety. Yes, some of the symptoms and sensations, the feelings can all be very similar. But unless you jump inside somebody else's skin, how will you know exactly what they experience? So what I've experienced in my life and what you've experienced in your life, they might be similar, but they could also be very different. So really, people can have all sorts of reactions when they're undergoing anxiety, sometimes very adverse reactions. And I think that what that anxiety guy is trying to do really is simplify it, whereas he's not allowing for the fact that the brain can be very complex. And each body is somewhat chemically complex because each person, yourself, me, and others, have a unique mix of symptoms and underlying factors that can affect how we feel. So unless you can walk in the shoes of someone for a week, feel what they feel, experience the severity of those sensations, then you can never say, yes, my anxiety is as bad as yours. You just can't do that. Okay, so let's carry on here. I think really saying that everybody's the same, and of course we're not because we're all unique, it's not allowing for that. It's not allowing for the uniqueness of individuals and their experience of life. It's actually, there are too many factors and variables involved that can complicate how a person is feeling and their anxiety reaction. So you can't make that sweeping statement. Perhaps more so, what can be said is, my learned fear response is the same as yours. I mean, some people have suffered anxiety for many, many years, even all their life. It could be due to a stressful event that might have triggered it. It could be because of traumatic upbringing. And to complicate matters further, other things can occur in your life that can make it all a whole lot worse. Yeah, so it can be anything, like a physical illness or a death in the family. Dismissing people's experiences of anxiety as being one and the same is really doing people a disservice. But what is true is that we are all tricked by sensitized sensations when we are experiencing anxiety. We are alarmed by bodily feelings, and we have become preoccupied with them, and that's what then can be like a roller coaster and trigger a panic attack and all sorts of horrible feelings that you end up dreading. So the length of time that somebody has gone through anxiety and the complexity of their life events can also be a contributory factor as to how much they have suffered. And some people are dealing with other issues such as OCD or health anxiety, clinical depression, all sorts of things. So there are many things that can happen in a person's life. We're not all come from the same factory. We are all different. We are all complex. Does that mean then that one size fits all? Moot point, really. I mean, the CBT approach and Claire Weekes' approach is excellent, and I fully embrace that approach, and I would recommend that one. But if people have found other ways of overcoming their anxiety and they wish to share that, there's nothing wrong with that either. What works for one may not work for another. And I think you've always got to be aware of that and keep your mind open to that. So trauma from childhood or any other experience and complex phobias, all of these can make one person's recovery harder than someone else's. But it is counterproductive to basically consider that your anxiety might be worse than somebody else's, because it detracts from what is important, and that is your recovery. But not making an allowance for people being unique is basically devaluing what they've been through. And I would never want to do that. What you have been through, what I've been through, it's unique to you, unique to me. We may share some similarities, and we can share ways and means of helping ourselves. But to say that we are all the same, no. We're way too complicated for that. And as they haven't even figured out the brain properly yet, I think it's a little bit superior to turn around and say, yeah, we're all the same. No, we are not. And also saying that people are all the same and saying that one size fits all can actually make some people feel quite helpless and even disillusioned when faced with the hard work of recovering. So I've been through a lot in my life. I maybe might share that one day in another video. But right now, I just wanted to reassure anybody that my anxiety is not necessarily worse than yours. Your anxiety might be worse than mine. And whether we can really measure it or gauge it, not sure. But it's all unique to all of us. We are not all the same. We are unique, and we should be happy about that, because we aren't defined by our anxiety. We've got so much more to offer the world. But don't let anyone ever tell you that their anxiety is just as bad as yours. You are you, and that is all that's important. And I'm here to try and help us all find a way to the other end of this path, to the light at the end of the tunnel, because it really does exist. Thank you.